All right, welcome back to the Boys of 161st Street, episode 94. This episode is all about a new recent acquisition. Name is Jameson Taillon. That's actually how you pronounce it, is Taillon, like you own a tie. We're no longer going to call him that. His nickname is Jamo. I know it's not really very creative, so we're trying to say that we made it up. Definitely didn't make it up. It was on his Players Weekend jersey back in the day. But anywho, this one's all about Jameson Taillon.
161st Street, Yankee Stadium.
Swung on a hit in the air, the deep center, gets back, away back, she is gone! He made the catch! He made the play!
How are we?
Fantastic. Fucking
Hanging in there.
fantastic.
Hanging in there? Murph sounds a little sick. I don't know.
Something
Yeah, I
going
got the
around these
sniffles.
days. I'm not sure what it is.
There seems
not
to be
that.
some kind of disease that's going around. I don't think he has it, though. So, but pep
Been
up.
there, done that.
Huh?
I'm here.
So, today you got Damon, Luke, and Murphy. Chandler Bing is MIA. I don't know where he went, but we're talking about Jameson Taillon, and we're just excited about this. We were going to do this episode a little earlier, but we decided to wait a little bit, let it set in, and it set in.
Yeah.
Jameson Taillon, Jamo, is a Yankee. We're going to call him Jamo. That's it. We're taking credit for that nickname, even though it's the least creative nickname ever, and we're creative people, so we could do better, but there's nothing. That's his nickname.
It's
That's
the
it.
perfect nickname.
It's-
You
we
can't,
can't-
you
you
can't
can't-
make it better than that.
If it ain't broke, don't
No,
fix
You
it.
really
can't.
can't make it better
I
than that.
agree.
So, why don't we break down, first and foremost, the trade that got JMO here in pinstripes. So, who has the trade details? The trade details, I have the trade details. So, the Yankees get right-handed pitcher Jameson Taillon, JMO, for Miguel Yahoo, Yankees number 15 prospect per MLB Pipeline. Ronzi Contreras, is he related to Wilson Contreras?
I'm sure there's probably 11 different Contrerases in the MLB. They're all different families.
It was just a question. I don't know.
It could be. Could not be. Who knows?
I'm gonna market that.
Market 8, dude.
I'm gonna market that he's related. You know, I told myself to stop saying market 8 because I say it too much, but I like it. So,
That's my thing. I love saying
market 8, Murph. And Kanan Smith, number 21 prospect. I think these are the Yankees prospect rankings. So, wait, is it Yankees prospect?
Yeah, this is Yankees prospect pipeline. I mean,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kanan Smith
Sorry.
isn't 21 in the MLB.
And no, I was.
It'd be a lot bigger deal.
yeah.
I thought it was. I thought they were doing different. Like Yahuri's not 15 overall. So yes,
No.
they're all Yankees prospect rankings. So it was 15, 19, and 21. Not going to get into the details on them specifically because there's not really, much about them, and we're not going to act like we've been watching them. I mean, Murph might have been, but
You're the
Murph's a
prospect
scout.
guy.
No, I liked Uhara because he came up and threw really well, only over like 9 innings though. So definitely was worth giving him up. Like it was a good package to give up, but Uhara might be somebody that's going to be in the MLB for a bit. He's pretty good.
Might be, but my biggest thing and what I think we've been talking about for a long time now is none of these guys that we just listed off, I envision them being on a World Series team in the next 2 to 3 years on New York Yankees.
I'd be surprised.
And I am totally cool with giving them up because of that reason. And I think that
For sure.
we've been trying to get into this win now mentality for a while now, and I think we were starting to make the moves that allow us to do so. And again, these guys, as good as they might be, as good as they might turn out to be, I wish them all the best, but they're not on our World Series roster, and that, again, is the reason why I love this trade, because Taillon's going to come in and be a number 2, number 3 starter. I'm going to call him Taillon.
why do you say it?
Because
like
Taillon
that?
just
I don't
sounds
want to let
cool.
you keep talking, but like that, it's just not. There are two options. One is Jameson Taillon, and one is Jamo.
Well,
That's it. And
the
you
issue
chose
is-
option C. That isn't even remotely. You like. I think just not even Jamo in specific. I think you try to mispronounce names just across the board, not just him.
You want to know the
How do you say Kluber?
Kluber? But you want to know
How do you
the
say Cool Whip?
Cool Whip?
How do you say cool?
Cool
How do you say whip?
Whip?
Say Cool Whip.
Cool Whip? No, the
If you
reason
guys don't understand the reference, I don't like
the
you.
reason
Stop listening
being
now.
The reason I say that, I think, is because I think if I say it wrong the first time, my brain just allows me to say it wrong every time after that, and it's impossible for me to fix it. Anyway, JMO, I had a good point there. That's the point.
What was the point?
No, the point was that there's not a single
There's a
Yankees
point to
fan
this.
that's going to have a problem with that deal.
Yeah.
Nobody has a
JMO
problem with that deal.
JMO's going to be a number 2, number 3 starter in our rotation, and none of these guys are going to reach the field next 2 to 3 years and be on the World Series team, and that's why I'm okay with this trade.
So now you brought
That's why I
that
love
up.
this trade.
Let's talk about where we see him, because you kind of jumped the gun on that. What do you think his impact will be this year on the Yankees? I personally see, I know what you think. I see him, the 2-3 is kind of a cop-out because the 4-5 aren't really even coming close to him or Kluber, so it's just like, yeah, of course they're better than those guys, like Montgomery and who's the
Devi?
Devi, yeah.
Devi, probably.
So it's clearly a Kluber JMO show for the 2-3. I personally think JMO has a little more upside, but obviously this is assuming health, and that's the case with both of them. I would give the edge to Kluber. This is obviously given no information on their health, just based on raw skill and ability and what we've seen from these two pitchers. I would give the nod opening day to Kluber. This doesn't really matter, honestly, just for personal rankings for us. But I would give Kluber the 2, JMO the 3. Now, I think JMO has the ability for sure, again, if he showed his health, to bump up to the number 2. Why can't he? It's just, and like we were saying before, these two are literally a microcosm of what the entire Yankees team is. And I said this to you guys off the air, that I feel like Cashman just decided, let's get enough of these guys who struggle with health, and let's just, instead of getting 1 or 2 guys who are just healthy, maybe if those 2 guys we don't like or they're not available, our best option is to get like 10 guys who have health issues, and two of them will be healthy. And if 2 of them hit, great. That's amazing. That worked. If more than 2 of them hit, World Series. You know what I mean? So I think
Absolutely.
these 2 guys have such a high ceiling, and it's low risk. And who else did we get that are like that, or either old or unhealthy? Darren O'Day, big friend of the pod. He fits that bill. Low risk, high ceiling. Jameson Taillon, same way. Corey Kluber, same way. Just a lot of players on the team are that same way. And I think going into this year, Jameson Taillon, like I said, microcosm of the way this team is going to just like if enough of those guys that were just added and are already on the active roster, just half of them stay healthy, like Judge, Stanton, Gary, like all those guys.
Yeah.
I feel like we have enough at this point. We have an excess that if we get half of them healthy, which is very feasible, like that's not asking too much, maybe it is, that if half of them stay healthy, I think we're in good shape. And I think that's what Cashman did.
That's what he does. He takes advantage of those kinds of things, because when somebody's had injury trouble, their price goes way down. If Taillon was healthy last year, there's no way we're going to get him for that trade package. If Kluber's healthy last year, we're not going to sign him for $10 million. He's going to be way more expensive. Same with, O'Day was healthy last year, but either way, O'Day, same thing. And those are kind of veteran presence that you can take in, and that really matters in the playoffs, especially from a pitcher's standpoint. But I did want to ask how you think they're going to switch up when Sevy comes back. So say Sevy comes back in, let's call it July, just because somehow June seems a little bit optimistic. But when he comes back, does he jump to the 2 and do down and Kluber slide down, or does he fit somewhere in between?
I hate to be that guy, but I think it's a depends thing. I hate to be the depends guy, but it's such a depends thing scenario, because if either of them or both of them are dealing and they are just shutting out and they're really solid starters, you can't take them out of that position. There's no way. It's like every pitcher in this rotation has health issues or has lack of experience besides Garrett Cole. And I think a lot of people are going to be on a short leash to begin with, but if we're seeing some guys starting to deal, then you can't take them out of the rhythm. We can't risk doing that. And if we mess with the system and we try and force something, then I think that's just gonna. It's not worth the downside. Like I think that a 2-3, is that a big difference? Being a 2 or 3 starter, is that a huge difference in a 162 game season? I don't really think so. If we're talking about the playoffs, then yeah, I would have a bigger conversation about it to say who's going to throw second and third. But if we're just rolling through the season and we have 162 games to play, I really don't think that a 2-3 really matters that much. But I think that's just my opinion.
This whole team
Throwing every 5 games either way.
Yeah. But I think that it's a really good point. But I also think that just another side note about JMO is that he has the potential to have a lot of upside. This guy's only 27 years old. And he's really only, 1-2 full seasons, really? Maybe? And he's
the way I
coming
see
off
this
injuries,
rotation, the way I see this rotation, those 3 guys specifically, I forgot about Sevy. I didn't forget about him, but for this conversation, those are the 2, 3, 4 guys in a rotation, no matter what. Any way you shake it out. And like you said, playoffs is when this really matters. During the season, 2, 3, 4 pitching the same amount of games throughout the entire season. But when you look at all 3 of them haven't pitched in 2 years. So when you're talking about depends, like they're the biggest depends guys there are.
I mean,
this whole team is a depends. Like, oh, what if he could do this if health? He could do this. He could be an MVP judge if he's healthy. Stanton could hit the home run record if he's healthy. Like everybody's an if he's healthy. Nothing's different on the pitching side of the ball on the mound with all these guys, and it is interesting because these guys are huge depends, and no one of them has any more information that can slot them in over the other 2 in the 2 spot because they all haven't pitched in 2 years basically. I mean, JMO threw 7 games in 2019. That's barely pitching. Yeah. Sevy came back for like when?
I don't know.
I think it was his first inning.
Hey, listen, you have Sevy.
Kluber's the same deal.
You have Sevy, Kluber, JMO, Devi, Montgomery. Those 5 guys haven't had a complete season in the last year and a half. And those are the guys we're choosing from. So
that's why you load up on them and get enough of them. And then once you get enough of them,
2, 3, 4,
come playoff time.
Let's just throw them all out there, see who does best, and then figure it out that way.
I think we pitch by committee in that sense. Whoever's healthy is healthy. And then by the playoffs, we only need 3 guys. And then if the 3 last men standing, that's who's pitching in the playoffs. It's a great problem to have.
As long as Garrett Cole's getting the ball every time he's ready and healthy, I don't care who fills the role.
If Cole gets hurt,
don't even.
We're fucked.
Don't even. Don't. Why would you even say that?
I'm not on wood, but I'm just saying, like, we're saying all these guys have so many like injury like in the past. Like, that's a lot riding on one guy's arm. I'm just saying.
That's why you pay the big bucks to be reliable and to last.
I guess so.
Dude's making $36 million a year. Hopefully,
so speaking of injury news, we got some good news on JMO actually. One day ago when we're recording this on Tuesday, this February. I was going to say December. We're not in December. So Jameson Taillon has now been 18 months removed from elbow reconstruction surgery, is said to be throwing exceptional control and appears ready to go for the start of Yankees camp, which is fantastic news. By the time you're listening to this, pitchers and catchers report like in soon. 2 days by the time you're listening to this.
Probably.
This week, to those listening, that's awesome. Because when we're talking about all this injury news, like, it's definitely better than not being ready. Like, I don't know how much weight we want to put into this, but it's definitely not bad news. I'll say that. It doesn't mean anything in terms of performance or anything. Well, actually, yeah, it does. He said he had exceptional control, which is good. I don't know if he had a control issue. Murph, did he have a control issue when on the Pirates?
I don't think so, no.
I'll do a quick Google search, but was it walk per 9?
Mm.
Do that in your head. You sound like an idiot when you think out loud.
Sorry.
No, but either way.
Walks per 9 innings.
Yeah, he's a pitch to contact guy, so I'd been really surprised if he had a lot of walks. So
the reason why I love this report, and it sounds like duh, it's like 100%, but Yankees history, we would have heard he should be ready. He's looking all right. We're planning it day by day. The fact that they're coming out here and saying 100%, that I'm like, damn, I'm ready to go.
Was
100%? Yeah, look, 100% healthy.
I can't read.
That is really, really good
100%.
point.
I can read numbers.
If the Yankees had even like the slightest doubt, they would have said, yeah, we're monitoring it. He should be ready to go.
He's throwing.
Saying
they would have
100%. You can't fuck that up. That's like
big.
if you're a weather guy and you're saying 100% chance of rain and not a drop comes
Weather
down.
guys get their job. They can be the least accurate people and still have a job.
Right, but
That
if
was
you're
a
saying
bad example.
100%, 100.
Weathermen can cop. They can get out of that easy. No problem.
That was a bad. That was a bad.
No, well, I mean, he
Sorry.
better be
Cold
100%.
front came in last second. Nothing I
Yeah,
can see
'cause something
about it.
come-
The Doppler didn't catch it.
He had the
He's still
surgery.
important to work tomorrow.
Anyway, 100%. That makes me feel good, especially coming from the Yankees.
I mean,
the
speaking
Yankee
of
side.
baseball news, like another person who says 100%, fucking Bob
Nightingale.
Nightingale. He says 100%, and his 100% is like 20% because like, oh yeah, Trevor Bauer's on the Mets. The deal is in place. Still has a tweet up, by the way. Didn't take it down. I quote tweeted. I was like,
You might as well just
might be
keep
time to take this down, Bob. Not great, Bob. There's a gift. We should always, every time Bob tweets, we should just quote tweet it. There's a gift. This is not great, Bob. We should just do that every time. I don't know how he has a job. I digress.
Anyway, I'm super stoked for that because
JMO loves coffee.
100%.
Big coffee enthusiast.
I know
What's
that.
the word for that?
He tweeted about it. He said, "Where should I
the-
get coffee in New York?"
Duncan.
What's the word for coffee enthusiast? Like there's a
Sommelier is
no,
wine.
that's a sommelier. That's what I was going to say. I know the wine is sommelier. Coffee,
Connoisseur.
coffee.
Connoisseur is a
Might
good word.
might just be
Connoisseur.
coffee
A
enthusiast.
Venusaur. Sounds like a dinosaur.
This is getting
Yeah.
out of hand. So yeah, I mean, him and Garrett Cole. We didn't even talk about their relationship either. Like that's another huge thing. Garrett Cole. The reason why we got him, not maybe the only reason, but a good part of the reason why the Yankees went after a guy and targeted Jameson Taillon is because Garrett Cole loves the guy. They roomed together when they were in the minors, was it? Or was it just, yeah, they wouldn't room together if they were when they're in the majors. So they roomed together in the minors, coming up together, on the Pirates together. They went their separate ways, but they're back. They're boys. And it just, there's that picture of
It's
them
good
cheersing.
chemistry. It's good
It's,
chemistry.
just, it's not bad chemistry, for sure.
Yeah.
It's another one of those things where just like, it's certainly not a bad thing. I don't know if it means if it's a great thing. I don't know if it's, I'm like, I wouldn't put, no, that's a great
It's
thing.
not like they're
That is a
pitching and
great
catching
thing.
to each other. It's not like the chemistry is needed, but definitely
No, it's
forces
definitely-
camaraderie.
In a World
and-
Series team, we need to have chemistry.
Hell
Definitely
yeah.
can't have not chemistry.
No, I love it. I mean,
this adds.
that
It's a
just
value add.
that just promotes working together and getting better together. But I don't think it's not like a pitcher catcher relationship or a shortstop second base relationship. It's a little bit different. It's more of like a again, learning and getting better together, not like a let's work together and turn two.
Well, the best part about it too is that the thing that Garrett Cole said to the Yankees that made them want to get him is that he was one of the most resilient guys he's ever played with, which coming down the stretch, that's going to matter. And that's like, if I need one quality out of him, it's resiliency to get back to his former self and the guy we paid for. So that makes it just all that much better.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. He beat cancer. He beat 2 Tommy Johns, and now he's still kicking. And he's kicking pretty fucking good, I hope. But like, he's ready. He's throwing accurately with great reports. Like, I have never. Garrett Cole didn't even need to tell me that to say that he's one of the most resilient like gamers that I have ever known. I mean, he beat cancer and 2 Tommy Johns. Like, that is a like career death sentence for a pitcher. Just the
If you can
Tommy
do that,
Johns
you can
alone,
pitch
let
in New
alone
York.
the cancer.
Any player ever. That's a
Yeah, no, I'm just saying just the Tommy Johns alone, let alone the cancer. But another great thing about this is that I briefly mentioned it, but the fact that he's a gamer like Garrett Cole, maybe that's why Garrett Cole took a liking to him, because he's like-minded like he is. So I don't know, just
Need
it
more of
seems
that.
I need to see it to believe it, but if we get a guy that's remotely close to the mentality of Garrett Cole in him, sign me up for that. That is what we need in the playoffs. We need a guy screaming his head off when he strikes somebody out. October night, just absolutely losing it on the mind because he just he just twirled a gem in the 8th inning of a playoff game against the Astros. The Astros won't be there. But, like that just put me there, and I hope he is that kind of player. And, he likes coffee, so maybe he's like the Canely situation where he's addicted to Red Bull. That'd be sick. That version of Canely was awesome. That was like Eminem before that was like relapse Eminem. It was sick. I don't know if that
It's an
analogy
interesting
Let's wrap this
comparison.
up.
It's time to shut this one down. But that is Jameson Taillon. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating. We love it. We love you guys. So love us back and give us 5 stars on the podcast app, Apple Podcast. Subscribe to the show. Follow us on all social media. This episode is also going to be on YouTube if you're listening. I know we mentioned that on a few other ones and we were having technical difficulties uploading. So some of them, only the Darren O'Day one was on the YouTube. But now, going forward, every single one is going to be on the YouTube if you want to watch us in video form as well as audio form. If you want to stay on the podcast apps, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life.
Do what you want.
Do what you want to do.
We just provide options. We don't tell you what to do.
That is that. Like I said before, on other episodes, we are going to start doing these. Obviously, we're still doing these Tuesdays and Fridays. 2 weeks out of the season, we're doing them every day leading up. So it's nice little, like, get you pumped up, domino effect, too much content overload, not enough content. And then we are going to be streaming all the episodes when we figure it out. The technical, we would be doing it right now if we knew how to do it. We'll just be fully transparent about that. We don't know how to do it, but we will figure it out. We're resilient like Jameson Taillon. Fantastic segue into that. So I'll pat myself on the back there, and we'll end the episode now. Love you guys. Go Yanks. Go Yanks. Go Yanks.